Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Local News. I'm Evan Kenny. A federal party made a campaign stop in the border city over the weekend. People's Party of Canada leader Maxime Bernier was at the Vic Juba to share his vision and rally support for his candidates in our region. Jace Mackey has more on what the PPC leader had to say.
Maxime Bernier was in Lloydminster on Sunday night as part of his tour across Alberta. The PPC leader is spending a lot of time in rural Western communities hoping to win the party's first seat, but he's also hoping for breakthroughs across Canada.
In Alberta, we have a lot of support, but also in Ontario. I'll be in Ontario this week, and I was surprised the support that we had when I was in New Brunswick also. So I believe that it is not only former Conservative voters that are supporting us. In Atlantic Canada, people who voted Liberals are coming with us.
Bernier believes this election should be a referendum on COVID restrictions and vaccine passports. He says while the Conservatives have not come out in support of a national vaccine passport, there still isn't much separation between the Liberals and the Conservatives.
Yeah, we are the only national political party that is ready to fight to gain back our freedoms, because as you know, our freedoms are under attack in this country with mask mandate, with vaccine passport. We believe in freedom of choice. Everybody must be able to decide if they want to wear a mask or not, or if they want to take the vaccine or not, with the right information and informed consent. And O'Toole, Trudeau, and all the other establishment politicians are for imposing COVID-19 vaccine all across the country.
In the People's Party's first election in 2019, the party didn't win a seat, and in both Lloydminster ridings, the PPC received around 2% of the vote. The party is hoping to build on that in this election and into the next.
It took 20 years and 6 elections for the Green Party of Canada to have more than 1.6% of the vote. We did that our first year. Now we are growing, and this election is an important step for the People's Party of Canada. We increase our percentage of the vote, and we'll have some of our candidates that will be elected, and we will start that conversation in Ottawa, that common sense and freedom conversation, and we'll ask the real question, and we'll fight for our freedom in Parliament. We'll use all the parliamentary tools to be able to do that fight, and that will be the beginning of a common sense revolution in this country.
For Primetime Local News, I'm Jace Mackey.
With the election only a week away, candidates are making their final pushes to voters. And tonight, candidates from the Lakeland and Battleford's Lloydminster riding will be sharing their stance on a variety of topics. Our Jasmine King has more.
All federal debates wrapped up last week. Now local candidates have their chance to appeal to voters through the All Candidates Forum. Because of safety protocols, the event is going to be held virtually with no in-person audience.
We have the Battleford's Lloydminster riding first from 5:30 to 7, and then from 7 to 8:30, we are doing the Lakeland riding. So we are just strictly live streaming it this time around. We did plan to have an in-person audience and hold it at Lakeland College.
People at home watching the forum are able to submit their questions to the candidates throughout the night.
People can submit questions to an email address, so forum@lloydminsterchamber.com. The questions you can be submitting as you're watching. So like I'm one of the question collators, so I'll sit there with my laptop open and I'll be waiting for questions to come in via email. And so yeah, as you're watching the live stream and you have a question, submit it, and I'm sitting there waiting to get your questions.
Since the forum is available online, the Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce partnered with others to make sure all constituents were able to watch and be informed.
We were able to partner with other chambers in the Lakeland riding. So we partnered with the Vegreville Chamber of Commerce, the Lamonton District Chamber of Commerce, and the St. Paul Chamber of Commerce to share the Lakeland riding forum with them, so it can get that forum out to a greater reach across our region.
To watch the forum, visit the Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce's YouTube channel. Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
Residents gathered at City Hall Friday to promote mental health awareness and honor the memories of those lost to suicide. Tate Laycraft has more.
Some it's dear friends, some it's simply an acquaintance. but suicide leaves us all with a hole in our heart.
This year's World Suicide Prevention Day adopted the theme of creating hope through action, as Lloydminster's Youth Council embraced the opportunity to establish conversation at City Hall.
I know suicide and mental health isn't an easy thing to talk about, and if you're brave enough to show up or be like, I know somebody who struggles, or to tell any story that you've dealt with mental health or struggled with depression, anxiety, suicide, or you've been hurt by somebody committing suicide and you've lost somebody, it's really great that you can show that and you can tell people your story.
After prolonged periods of lockdowns and social distancing, the Mental Health Commission of Canada reports that more than 50% of Canadians are dealing with mental health troubles. And according to Stats Canada, 64% of youth aged 15 to 24 reported a decrease in their mental health just last year. For Holy Rosary student and Youth Council Chair Riley Grace, it's important to note that no one is left untouched by the struggles.
I am definitely affected by mental health in my everyday life. You know, we go to school, we see it there, sometimes even at work. You know, it affects everyone in different ways. From 2019 to 2020, calls to Canada's suicide prevention service skyrocketed by more than 200%. Numbers that serve as a reminder to the importance of the day itself. And being here today, it's definitely a much bigger impact, which I'm so grateful for.
For information and supports, you can head to lloydminstermentalhealth.ca.
Time now for this week's edition of Retrospect. Here is Blake Nath.
This week in Retrospect. Back in '91, local farmers are keeping a close eye out for cattle rustlers.
Cattle rustling has always been a problem for Canadian cattle producers, especially for those who run large herds over vast tracts of land. In the past, one of the main problems for cattle producers was in access to their land. What we have here is an approach, and it's easy access for a rustler. Used to be that a rustler could back in a cattle hauler right in onto a farmer's land and load up his stock. Today, however, the problem has escalated into guerrilla warfare. John Mayer says rustlers still have access to the land, but are killing and cutting the carcasses right on the spot. Another problem that compounds things for farmers at this time of year is the start of hunting season. It doesn't take long during hunting season before farmers get used to hearing the odd shot in the distance. But the shots that hunters take to bring down wild game can also be used by rustlers to bring down cattle. You'll see in the background one of Mayer's cattle that was shot through the head by a rustler. At $1,300 a head, 2 shots from a .22 rifle cost Mayer $2,600.
And in '96, vacancies in the border city dry up as Maritimers flock to the prairies for work in the oil field.
It's not unusual these days to see this sort of sign in front of apartment buildings here in the border city. Vacant apartments are few and far between, and many say one main reason is the recent influx of people into the city from the Maritimes.
I really can't give a number for it, but I get probably sometime 15 to 20 calls a day.
And Amundsen says while this is good news for landlords, it could result in rent increases for consumers.
I really can't say for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me. You know, that's money's money. You know, it's a business like anything else. You know, they take advantage of it. If it's there, they're going to make it.
Reports are that hundreds of Maritimers are relocating to the border city. Maritimers such as Brenda Frank, who moved here 2 months ago.
Well, we came up here to look for work. The economy is really bad down in Nova Scotia. And he found a job up here, and so things are going really well.
But Mike Heyer of Trinity Energy says this recent influx of job seekers isn't a surprise, especially with the heightened activity in the oil patch.
We have very low unemployment here, and you have high unemployment in other areas. People are just going to migrate to where there's work. And if you have people here that don't like that or complain about it, then I would suggest maybe they should come out and work.
And that's all for this week. And retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
Well, it was a nice day here throughout the day in Lloydminster. We'll go now to Shelby Clark with a look at your evening forecast.
Thanks so much, Evan. Now taking our first look at your weather forecast for here in the border city. We have been cooling down quite a bit as we move into that fall season. Here in the border city, we're sitting at 18 degrees with a mix of some sun and cloud. So it still is a bit sunnier today, but as we go through the forecast, it will be cooling down. Now taking a look at temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan. Most places are at that 18-degree mark here. Cold Lake and St. Paul are seeing 17 degrees. Vegreville's a bit warmer there at 20 degrees, and Wainwright and Provost are at 19. Now over on this side here, Isla Cross and Green Lake are at 18 degrees, as well as in Pearceland. Meadow Lake is at 19. St. Walburg is seeing 17 degrees. Lloydminster, of course, and Maidstone here are at 18 degrees, and Macklin and North Battleford are at 19 degrees. But speaking of North Battleford, overnight they will be cooling down quite a bit there to a low of 6 degrees with a lot more clear skies. And tomorrow they will be warming up and picking it up a bit more there to a high of 22 with a mix of some sun and cloud. Now looking at Cold Lake overnight, they'll be seeing the same there with a low of 6 degrees, so a lot cooler as well with not many clouds in sight, but they will be warming up as well to a high of 21. And now taking a look at the school day forecast for all the kids out there and here in the border city. Tomorrow though will be starting off a bit cooler. They're at 8 degrees heading to school. Throughout the day at recess and lunch, it will warm up there to 13, 18 degrees with a lot more sunnier skies. And by the time the school is out, it will warm up the most to a high of 19 as they are heading home from school. And now taking a look at our 3-day forecast for here in the border city. As I was saying, it will be cooling down quite a bit throughout the week. Tuesday we'll see a little warmer day there with a high of 20 and a low of 7 degrees with a mix of some sun and cloud. So enjoy that nice weather while you can. But Wednesday and Thursday we will be cooling down there to a high of 14 on Wednesday and a low of 9 with a mix of some sun and cloud. A lot more cloudier skies on Wednesday. And Thursday we will be seeing around a 70% chance of precipitation there with a high of 16 and a low of 5 with a lot more cloudier skies. That's our first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. The Lloydminster Animal Hospital says that they've recently seen an increase in inquiries about ivermectin. Jillian Code has the story.
Small containers of ivermectin have been taken off the shelves at the Lloydminster Animal Hospital in response to a recent uptick in calls inquiring about ivermectin.
Our staff has had to be a little vigilant in taking these calls and, trying to weed out the ones where we suspect that people are actually trying to get it for their own use.
A wave of misinformation has led to the belief that ivermectin has the ability to cure COVID-19 despite warnings from health agencies. A study from Alberta Health Services COVID-19 Scientific Advisory Group recommends that the pill form of ivermectin, designed to fight parasites in humans, should not be taken to prevent or treat COVID-19. Dr. Berg says ivermectin designed for livestock is fundamentally different than that for humans.
Human products are designed to be taken and absorbed by humans. These products are designed to be given to animals in, their physiology that can differ from ours. So whether or not the dose is appropriate or the absorption is appropriate, these are all questions we have no answers for.
Dr. Berg says that clients with livestock shouldn't feel wary when buying ivermectin for their herds.
We know your animals, we've worked on your farm, we're well versed in your operation, and Joe Farmer comes in October and says, I need Ivermec for my cattle, we're probably not going to question that. If somebody comes in that we haven't seen before with a picture of a horse, or we've only ever seen dogs and cats for them and says, I'd like some horse dewormer, we're probably not going to fill that.
Clinical research trials testing the effectiveness of ivermectin as a treatment for COVID-19 are ongoing, yet health authorities maintain that vaccination is the best method for protection against COVID-19. Jillian Code, Primetime Local News.
Week 6 of the CFL season saw a number of Labor Day rematches. Jace Mackey joined myself in breaking down these games and how the season could play out. Well, this past Saturday in the CFL, we saw a number of Labor Day rematches, including the Banjo Bowl being hosted in Winnipeg and the Labor Day Classic rematch hosted in Edmonton. Joining us today to break this down is Jace Mackey. Jace, thank you for hopping on with us.
For sure, Evan. I love talking CFL whenever we can.
Now, starting off in Winnipeg with the Banjo Bowl, this is not quite the Saskatchewan team that we've been seeing. You know, to start off the season, the Saskatchewan Roughriders were really looking like one of the top teams in the CFL. Now the Winnipeg Blue Bombers seem to have knocked them off. Jace, just tell us what happened in this Banjo Bowl.
Well, yeah, like you said, coming into both of these Labor Day games, the home and home series, I think this was really going to be the battle of who is the best team in the CFL. And Saskatchewan lost that first game, but I think a lot of Saskatchewan fans were thinking, you know what? I think if we can don't get swept, I think there's still a lot of room to grow. And going into Winnipeg, which can be a loud stadium as well, I know a lot of people say that, or a lot of people know that Saskatchewan has a loud stadium, but Winnipeg IG Field is just as loud. But and starting off, Cody Fajardo and that offense didn't look too bad. They were able to score a field goal on their first drive, I believe, and they were really looking pretty decent. But Zach Collaros had some responses when it came to Winnipeg, and that Winnipeg D really didn't let Cody Fajardo get anything off further on as the game continued. There was also some two players, I believe, on Saskatchewan's defense that ended up being ejected after a little bit of a fight in the end zone. A lot of people were thinking that Andrew Harris of the Winnipeg should have been leaving that game. He didn't. He didn't throw a punch, but he did end up pulling a Saskatchewan player's helmet off. So that's something that losing those two players for Saskatchewan didn't help. And then Cody Fajardo later on in the game ended up having to leave and is going to be going through some concussion protocols. So leaving this game, Saskatchewan was going into it thinking, you know what, we can still put ourselves as one of the top teams in the league. Leaving it, they're not too happy.
Now, Jace, you know, Winnipeg, like you said, sort of has cemented themselves as the top team in this league. They've allowed the least amount of points. They've scored the most amount of points. And in back-to-back games, they haven't given up a point in the second half. I guess just what about them makes them such a dominant team?
You know, coming into this season, I think they are the defending Grey Cup champions, so a lot of people thought, you know, this is going to be a top team. Going into this game here, a lot of people are saying, you know, they are, them and Saskatchewan are the top teams. Leaving these two games, I don't think anyone can doubt that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are the best team in the league right now. I think quarterback Zach Collaros has been great for the team. There were questions coming in. I know in 2019 they had that tandem quarterback with Chris Shevler. Having Zach be the guy, people weren't sure, can he deliver? I think coming out of this, people have to say Zach Collaros not only is a good quarterback, being efficient, being able to run that offense, but I think he also brings this energy to the team that they can say, this is our guy, he's our leader, and they're going to follow him into all these games. When it comes to special teams as well, Winnipeg has always been a great team when it comes to special teams. Head coach Sean O'Shea is also the special teams coordinator, so they're always strong there. Their defense has been great. So they were always missing this kind of great quarterback that could lead them, and I think they have that now. Obviously, the CFL, anything can happen, and, you know, especially when you look at the East, things aren't going too well, but the team at the Grey Cup can always win it. But I think Winnipeg is definitely going to be a strong team in this league, and they're definitely the number one team in this league.
Now, Jace, jumping over to the other Labor Day rematch between the Edmonton Elks and the Calgary Stampeders. You were actually at this game in Edmonton. Now, the big storyline going in was Bo Levi Mitchell returning to the Stampeders. But, Jace, it seemed like the story was flipped, and it was really the other side of the ball for the Stampeders that took over this game, being the defense. Why were they so dominant?
Well, definitely. I think going into this game, a lot of people were excited as Calgary fans to have Bo back. He is their leader. He's the franchise quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks, arguably, in the CFL. But I don't think quarterbacking was the Stampeders' issues while he was gone. You know, Jake Mayer came in, rookie QB. He won one game. But when stats came out, he is the first quarterback to throw over 300 yards in his first three starts. So I don't think quarterbacking was the issue for them. In that first Labor Day game in Calgary that Calgary lost, they did have receivers that just missed some passes, and obviously Edmonton lit it up and was able to kind of have their way with Calgary's defense. They did make adjustments coming into this game, and in that first half, Bo Levi Mitchell honestly didn't look the best. You know, the Edmonton and Calgary were trading with some field goals, and he wasn't finishing those drives. But heading into the second half, they really were able to make some adjustments and capitalize on an Edmonton team that just wasn't pushing the ball down the field and wasn't able to finish drives.
Now, the Calgary Stampeders did win that game 32-16. These two teams are at the bottom of the West standings. Meanwhile, the two teams we previously talked about, the Rough Riders and Blue Bombers, currently at the top of the West standings. Jace, thank you very much for taking this time and joining me. Well, this upcoming Friday, there is a local high school football game. We'll go now to Shelby Clark with a look at the forecast for then.
Thanks so much, Evan. Yes, as we look at the 7-day forecast throughout this second look at your weather forecast here, we will see if the weather is good for that high school football game, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be the best. But now we will start with taking a look at the central temperatures across central Alberta and Saskatchewan here. On the Alberta side, most places will be seeing 17 degrees. Athabasca and Edmonton are at 19 degrees, while Red Deer and Cold Lake are at 18 degrees. Over on this end here, Meadow Lake and Melfort are at that 19-degree mark. Prince Albert and here in the border city are still at 18 degrees, while North Battleford and Saskatoon are at 20 to 21. But now as we look at our northern region of the provinces here, a little bit cooler in most places. Uranium City and Stony Rapids are at 12 and 14 degrees. Wollaston Lake and South End are a bit cooler at 11 degrees. Flin Flon and La Ronge are at 17, while La Loche and Buffalo Nose are at 18 degrees. Grand Prairie is seeing 18 degrees as well as in Slave Lake. Peace River and Fort Chipewyan are at 16 degrees, while High Level and Fort McMurray are a bit warmer there at 17 and 19. And now as we take a look at our southern region, they are seeing a bit warmer temperatures there. Lethbridge is at 20 degrees. Medicine Hat and Coronation are seeing 19 degrees, while Banff and Calgary are kind of the same as around here at 16 and 17 degrees. Yorkton and Kindersley and Swift Current are all seeing 19 degrees right now, while Regina, Moose Jaw and Estevan are a bit warmer at that 20-degree mark, and Estevan's at 22 degrees. But now as we look back at temperatures across the region overnight, we will be cooling down in most places here. Meadow Lake will be seeing a low of 4 degrees, as well as in Paradise Hill with a lot more clear skies. Isla Cross will be seeing a bit warmer with a low of 8 degrees with a little bit more clouds in sight. Pierceland, Unity, Provost and Murnum will be seeing a low of 6 degrees, while Wainwright will be seeing a low of 5 degrees. But most places will not be seeing precipitation and will be seeing more clear skies. And now as we take a look at temperatures tomorrow across the region, we will be warming up just a couple degrees warmer there. Most places will be ranging from around 20 to 22 degrees, while Macklin and North Battleford will be seeing a little bit warmer temperatures at 22 degrees. And now, as I was saying, we are at that 7-day forecast here in the border city. Tuesday we'll be seeing the warmest day out of this week with a high of 20 and a low of 7 with a mix of sun and clouds. So make sure you're enjoying this nice sunnier weather while we can, because we will be dropping as we're moving more into the fall season. Wednesday we'll be dropping down to a high of 13 degrees on Wednesday with a lot more cloudier skies. And Thursday, as I was saying, for that high school football game on Friday, it will be having a high chance of precipitation there on Thursday with a high of 16. So I don't think that will make it easy for those players out there for Friday. But Friday, they will be seeing more cloudier skies with a high of 15 and low of -1 now. So we are moving almost into those minus temperatures there for our lows. Saturday and Sunday we'll be having this weekend. It will be cooling down quite a bit with a high of 12 on Saturday with a mix of sun and cloud, and Sunday we will be ending it off with a high of 14 with a higher chance there precipitation as well. And Monday we'll be starting off next week with a high of 16 and a low of 4 with a mix of sun and cloud. That's a second look at your weather forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
Today, I'm joined by Roger Anderson, General Manager of the Gold Horse Casino here in Lloydminster, to discuss their new masking requirements starting this Wednesday. So what prompted the initial decision to bring back required masks in your casino?
SIGA has made a decision, the senior management of SIGA. We've had a
increase in the transmission of the COVID-19 and the variant. So as a result, we want to keep everyone safe, whether it be employees, patrons, and their communities. So we decided to bring this back effective Wednesday, September 15th, the masks. But the employee masks were already in place September 7th, we started that. But even more to that, Gold Horse, we're in a region, we thought we're in a region of Alberta, so we've had our employees wearing masks for at least, I'm guessing a month already.
And how will the masking requirements work with eating and drinking?
When you first come in, first of all, we'd ask you to lower your mask so we can get a facial shot. When you come in, security will ask you that. But when you're at any of our gaming devices, slot machines, tables, we say you can remove them for a short period of time while you're consuming your beverage or your food. And in the restaurant, same thing applies. You can, when you're seated, but walking around or ordering, or we ask you to put your mask back on.
What sort of precautions are you already taking to prevent the spread of the virus?
We haven't stopped our cleaning and sanitizing. We do deep cleans every morning. We do them. We make sure we do deep cleans, and that involves cleaning down machines, all of our gaming products, our kitchen, back of house. We do all of that, including, again, even our offices. That continues, but we'll continue to clean as throughout our shifts. Our employees will go and clean machines, and we'll do the best we can. We have wipes available on the gaming floor for patrons to use as their convenience, and wipe their machines or whatever product they're working on.
Do you have any timeline on how long you think the mask mandate in your casino will last, or is it all just dependent on COVID-19 numbers?
We don't have any timeline at this time. We just want to make sure we keep everyone safe. You know, if cross our fingers and hope that these variants and this transmission slows down. But by masking and continue doing our cleaning, we're hoping we settle that transmission, how it's going. It's taken off again within our province or provinces.
Do you think that you'll receive any sort of negative feedback, being that there's no requirement from the government about masking?
I look at the positives. There's many positives by doing this. Again, we're a corporation, as a business, we want to keep our people safe, our visitors safe, the community safe. Communities, as a business, we're doing that. Will we get some? I think we may, but I don't know to what degree. But again, I think for a high percentage of people that come and visit us, we still have patrons that come and visit us wear masks. But we want to focus on keeping ourselves safe and do what we can. You know, we don't want to be, again, limiting risks of this transmission, or however you want to say that.
Joining us today for Primetime Local News to talk about his new Kick COVID in the Butt tour coming up this fall, but he'll be returning to the stage, is Gord Bamford. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Now, what stops are all planned for this tour?
You know, it's kind of crazy. Things have changed a little bit, just within the last 24 hours too. So with the new restrictions and stuff, there's probably going to be some dates moved into the new year. But yeah, it's planned to be the smaller type town tour where we're, getting back into playing music again, because we've been out for so long, and helping these community groups raise money. Everybody's had a tough time through this COVID, but right now our Saskatchewan dates are still in place. So we've got Unity and Birch Hill, and I know we're doing an awesome thing with CITL and awareness for Indigenous and children that we're doing in Saskatoon, which is going to be awesome, and a few things, but everything's kind of up in the air now. So we're kind of back to square one, and with the restrictions that we're doing and seeing what's going to happen. But we won't cancel the dates. We'll just move them, move them into probably early in the new year and hope to continue to go out and do it. I know it's been a huge response, so far. So, we're just kind of trying to abide by the rules a bit and see what happens.
And where did the idea come from to name this tour the way you did?
Well, we've kind of got the brand with the donkey and stuff, so that it was kind of like, I think everybody's really tired of it. So it's kind of like, how do we say kick COVID in the ass, I guess you can say, and make it so you're not really saying it. So we just put the donkey at the end. And it's kind of following a lot of the branding stuff that we've been doing with the whole, hashtag redneck tour and the new music and all that sort of stuff. So we really love the graphic on it. So we wanted to keep it going. Obviously the redneck tour only had 3 shows out of 40 as well. So it's just been crazy. Like it's been such a hit on the music business and the musicians and the promoters and the agents and everybody involved in the music. And then the fans not being able to come to a concert. I mean, it's, everybody's mental health is taking a beating over it. And we just thought we were finally back to being able to play a bunch of shows this fall. And now we're having to readjust a bit, but there'll be some announcements coming here in the next few days on that. But the people that have got tickets for the shows that are going to move, just hang on to them. You'll be able to come to the new date here early in the new year, and away we go.
And could you tell us a bit more about the work of your foundation?
Yeah, the Gord Bamford Foundation is, I guess, going into year 15 next year. We had another successful golf tournament this year. We're just shy of 4.6 million now raised for kids and children and youth and multi-use facilities across Canada. So it's definitely been a project that I've been very proud of and very proud to be a part of. And it's kind of gone to levels that we never dreamed it would go. But it's done a lot of good for Canadians and like I said, youth and kids and children, children's hospitals, Make-A-Wish foundations, Ronald McDonald houses. And it's been definitely probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever been a part of, as far as bringing my music into the world and giving back. So and it was the idea of this tour too, is to get out and we know how important it is for these small little groups to continue their fundraising, whether it's an ag society or Rotary Club or Kinsman Club or the curling club, minor hockey, minor sports. Like, it's been really tough on a lot of these organizations. We've been lucky with our foundation. We've every year been able to get our golf tournament in some sort of fashion. This year kind of felt more normal, but we know how tough it is to continue to raise money when you've been shut down for 2 years. So that was this whole idea on this kick COVID in the butt tour. But it's just going to be put on hold a little bit, not on all markets, but on some. And we'll be out there for sure. And early in the new year, I think we'll finally get through the end of this is kind of the positive thinking that we're taking with it. So.
And it's really good to see that you're still trying to help out people right now, especially through such a tough time and having to take breaks from tours. And speaking of this tour, it's following your recent hit single, Heaven on Dirt, correct?
Yeah. That's been a big song for us. It's streamed like crazy and people seem to like it and done really well on radio. So it's been really good. I'm excited about the new music, the new record, the deluxe version of the Diamonds in a Whiskey Glass deluxe version is coming out. I've got a really cool duet on there with Terry Clark, which is going to be out in the new year, and some exciting news to announce with her. It's exciting times as much as we can. I mean, we've had a few shows throughout the summer here, but as much as it's not normal right now, like our touring world's kind of up and down. It's still exciting times for what's coming. And I think once it all, irons itself out, it's going to be pretty awesome. So hopefully sooner than later.
And although some dates may have to be pushed just with like COVID and everything affecting it, how has support been so far with this tour?
Been great. It's just, we've made it so that these towns don't really have any risks for us to come in there. We just partner with them. And I mean, we have all the production and lighting and video, so we kind of turnkey everything. And, it's a give and back process to these small communities. And there's so many of them to play, we're planning on playing hundreds of them over the next few years. So we're just starting out small with this, and the response has been fantastic. Even during the times of uncertainty that we're in right now, I think that there's been a bit of a setback here, especially in some markets that, with the going back to phase 2 and this and that. Saskatchewan, luckily, knock on wood, hasn't done that yet. So we're excited to be going there. And continuing to, do the right things and go out and play music. People need music. They love music. It's healing, and it's always great to be able to help people raise some dollars for their communities. And hey, we get to go out and do what we love every day, which is really important.
And is there anything else you want to add for people to know about concerning this new tour?
Yeah, just all the info's on at gordbamford.com. All the ticketing is there. It's under a company called Show Pass. Real simple. Just go to the website and check out areas that we're in. I know Unity's sold out, and I think Birch Hills is pretty close. I think it'll be sold out here pretty quick. So if you want to come to Birch Hills, just get your tickets now. Otherwise, you won't get in. And there's other dates on there, and if you haven't got your tickets, you'll see the new dates that we put up here in the next few weeks, and grab your tickets, because it's going to be a lot of fun, and there's going to be a lot of energy in that room, not just on stage, but I think the people that are pent up, ready to come to concerts are excited about it. So it's exciting.
Perfect. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us today, Gord, and hopefully the tour works out and many dates won't have to be pushed, but I hope it works out for you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate your time.
Now taking a final look at your 7-day forecast as we go through the night into tomorrow and Tuesday. High of 20 on Tuesday, so a nice warm day tomorrow compared to what we will be seeing through the rest of the week. 13 on Wednesday with a mix of some sun and clouds, so we will be cooling down a bit there. And Thursday we will be seeing around a 70% chance of some precipitation there with a high of 16 and a lot more cloudier skies. Friday we'll be starting off the weekend a bit cooler there with a high of 15 and a low of actually -1, so we are seeing some minus temperatures now for our lows there. And Saturday we'll be seeing a high of 12 with a mix of sun and cloud. Sunday will be ending off with a chance of showers as well there with a high of 14. And Monday will be starting off a bit warmer there with a high of 16 and a low of 4 with a mix of sun and cloud.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Join us for the next hour on CITL.